Thunder and lightning joining that winter weather across the Ozarks today. Many of you heard thunder sleet rattle the skies. Good evening. I'm Paul Adler. First on this Thursday night, it's a first alert weather day with cold temps and that yuck out there. Freezing, drizzle, thunder, sleet. Several schools have already called off classes for tomorrow. That list scrolling down there at the bottom of your screen. We've got team coverage on road conditions across the Ozarks. Abby Taylor has a look at Springfield streets. Madison Horner checks out Branson roads. First, though, let's go to Chief Meteorologist Ron Hurst, who's tracking it all in the First Alert Center.
Yeah, well, you remember last night I told you there could be some thunder and lightning in there with the sleet coming down pretty heavy, and that's what occurred this morning. And this afternoon, things are beginning to wind up across the area. So for much of southwest Missouri, we had been under a winter storm warning. That has been replaced with a winter weather advisory for the next couple of hours. It's down in south central Missouri and north central Arkansas. We still have the winter storm warning in place, but to be quite honest, I expect that to all be kind of lifted here in the next couple of hours as the majority of the moisture is moving outside of our viewing area. Here's a current look at the radar, and right now there may be a little bit going on in far southeastern Sharp County down there towards Jonesboro, but the vast majority of us are looking at dry conditions. Now, that's not to say there's not a little freezing drizzle happening across the area. That's just too light to be picked up by radar. Time lapse shows the majority of the moisture. You can see it there in the form of sleet and freezing rain, moving on to the east and eventually coming to an end. So Futurecast gives us just a little moisture here or there, but otherwise we're looking at a clearing sky tonight, and that is going to create some pretty cold conditions by early tomorrow morning. Your forecast for the next 12 hours, temperatures diving off into the mid-teens as the sky clears. Paul?
Thank you, Ron. Despite the cold temps and slick roads, several people had to brave those elements for work today. Abby Taylor rode along with a delivery driver for a Springfield pharmacy. She kicks off our team coverage there on West Sunshine.
Paul, that yuck stuff that you're talking about is this slush right here. Take a look at this sidewalk, completely covered with it. This is wet. This is Kansas Expressway. You can see it in the middle of the road. Just be cautious when you're getting over or if you're turning, because that slush is slippery. Now, I rode with the delivery driver from Orchard Hill Pharmacy, and we went around all over Springfield, the main arteries, the back country roads, and even some subdivisions. For many, today is a snow day. But for Orchard Hills Pharmacy, it's business as usual, with the help of a couple extras.
Two of our techs, they've got kids that are still in grade school, and they brought their kids with them to work today, just because they know that people need to get their meds.
Pharmacist and owner Jeff Getzinger says they reach out to patients to see how urgent their situation is.
If they need it today, if they have to have it today, we're going to get it to them. We don't want to put our drivers at risk and of course our equipment too if there's not a real need to.
That's where Les Grossbeck comes in.
Came from New Jersey. Love this weather.
He's been delivering medication since 2007, and this weather reminds him of his first day on the job.
Started during a snowstorm, a February snowstorm.
Les says he takes it slow out on the roads.
The snow I can deal with, the ice I can deal with, but it's the other person.
Delivering in frigid temperatures doesn't bother him, because the delivery is essential.
We consider things like antibiotics, insulins, pertains to their quality of life and whether it's life-threatening needs or not.
Especially when the weather is bad. They're appreciative of Les for delivering.
You really might be the only person they see during the course of their day. To be that friend to them, to spend the extra minute or two with them, to let them know that they're just not a dollar in the register.
Again, if you do have to get out, remember, drive slow, be cautious. The roads might look pretty clear, but they are very, very wet. Lots of slushy, yuck stuff everywhere. Live in Springfield, I'm Abby Taylor.
All right, Abby, thank you. Many of you are using salt to melt away the ice. Madison Horner picks up our team coverage in Branson with the conditions there and the impact those materials can have on both your sidewalks and your pets. Madison.
Paul, right now in Branson, some of the main roads are improving, but you're still going to want to use caution on those back roads. They're partially covered and can still be very slick. And when it comes to clearing ice, oftentimes ice melt can damage concrete by causing corrosion under the surface. I talked to one hardware store owner who says certain kinds can cause more damage than others. Michael's hardware owner Jill LeComte says potassium chloride ice melt is a little more expensive usually has a color to it, and it seems to work the best. But over time, the potassium chloride can take a toll on your concrete. Shepherd of the Hills Humane Society Director Jamie Tabucci says, as we rush to salt the streets, we often forget about the impact that salt can have on our pets. Tabucci says make sure you are wiping their paws with either a washcloth or baby wipe, something to get the residue off. Most dogs actually like the taste of the salt and will lick their paws, which can be very dangerous.
If they ingest it too much, it's going to cause upset tummies, could cause dehydration in high enough concentrations.
Tabucci says you should monitor the symptoms of your pet when they come inside. And some of the things to look out for are low energy or kind of having less interest in eating and drinking. Live in Branson, Madison Horner, KY3 News.
Thank you, Madison. Many schools closed today. Several have already closed for tomorrow, including Springfield and Republic. They've closed because of this latest round of winter weather. In Arkansas, snow days don't look the same as they used to thanks to virtual learning. Our team coverage continues with Noah Tucker live in Harrison with road conditions right now and the way virtual days work there in Arkansas.
Paul, thanks. I've been driving the roads around Harrison all day, and they're good in some places, but still pretty poor in others. And you can get a little sneak peek, too, right here behind me of what they look like right by the school. Even though students didn't actually have to make their way to the building today, that doesn't mean they weren't learning.
Good morning. Nearly 250 school districts have canceled classes today. The full list running down there at the bottom of the screen.
These used to be the scenes of a snow day. Something of the past now, thanks to AMI.
Alternative methods of instruction.
School from home, made possible with districts supplying student laptops.
It could be a catastrophic utility failure. It could be weather. And that's what we're facing right now. And that allows the superintendent to have school as normal with a virtual or a hybrid setting, if you would.
New to many Missouri schools, it's actually been in place in Arkansas since 2017.
Legislator in Arkansas also altered the start date and try to help the tourism of the state, which is a good thing.
Absolutely. I feel like it's a great way to still have instruction, and the kids are still getting the learning that they need and the support from the teachers that they need, and just in different ways.
Brittany Pulse is an online instructor at HPS and believes newer apps like Google Classroom are beneficial.
Technology in itself has a lot more options nowadays than what it did when we were younger.
She has 9 students to go along with 3 of her own, so managing it isn't always easy.
It's a little bit of a juggling act some days. My kids are kind of younger, and they can't do all of their work on their own, but thankfully Big Sister is able to help the younger ones.
Currently in Arkansas, like Missouri, they're limited on AMI days allowed. In Missouri, it's 5. It's doubled in Arkansas at 10. But some have the thought an unlimited amount is okay as long as it isn't abused.
Knowing when your last day of school is going to be, that's super helpful for parents, teachers, administrators to just know that's your last day.
Snow days certainly looking a lot different than what many of us were used to growing up, but it continues to prove beneficial for schools and also parents who might find themselves at home. Reporting live in Harrison, I'm Noah Tucker, KY3 News.
Thank you, Noah. Let's take a look at the major roads across Missouri right now. Those roads are showing up around the Springfield area, mostly in that light blue color there. If you look at the chart, that means mostly clear. It's not till you get past Lebanon up here toward Rolla, that area, you see some of the darker blues, which means partly covered. So if you jump over to Arkansas, Noah was just there talking about things slushy. You see, for the most part, although outside of Harrison in that area, it is not marked at all, which means it's clear. We have links to these maps online. All you got to do is go to ky3.com. They're on the app too. You'll find the latest forecast, interactive radar, the list of school closings, locations of warming shelters in the Ozarks. All you got to do is look for this wintry weather resources. You click on that, you go right to the page, and at your fingertips 24/7, you have all that information. Just click again on that First Alert Weather tab up there in the trending bar at the top of the homepage. A suspect is in custody tonight after driving his truck into multiple businesses last night. Look at that video there. Video of the pickup driver backing his vehicle into the Lake Ozark City Hall. As Marina Silva reports, police had already been trying to find the driver before that crash.
It's boarded up now, but late last night, a pickup truck came into this parking lot, turned around, and then backed up his truck into this window here at Lake Ozark City Hall. Now police are trying to tie similar incidents at other buildings to this one. This is the video Lake Ozark Police Department gave to KY3. You can see the car coming into the parking lot and then turning around before backing up into this window. About 2 miles down the road, the same pickup truck went to Boone Medical Clinic at Hy-Vee, causing the damage at the door and inside the building. Nobody got hurt. Police were already looking for the driver before the crash.
So everybody was on point trying to find it, and as everybody's trying to search for it, we have this incident. Then we find out from our neighbor at Osage Beach that they had the same type of situation happen over there. The mother of the individual that we ended up arresting called and said that she had her son and he was the one that had caused all this. So we had him in custody within a very, very short time.
Police are finishing up the investigation and then we'll send it to the prosecuting attorney for formal charges. If you have any information on any of these incidents, contact Osage Beach or Lake Ozark Police Departments. Reporting in Lake Ozark, I'm Marina Silva.
Next here at 5, war in Ukraine, the way the battles in Europe may impact our lives here in the States. Plus, a COVID-19 vaccination clinic is moving where the Greene County Health Department will soon set up shop. The world is watching the reality of war in Europe. Russian President Vladimir Putin launched a large-scale attack on Ukraine late last night. As NBC's Alice Barr reports, President Biden is holding emergency meetings with global leaders, and he announced more sanctions on Moscow.
War has arrived in Ukraine. Russia launching a broad invasion by land and air, bombarding major cities across the country, including the capital of Kyiv. World leaders united in outrage against Russian President Vladimir Putin's attack on a sovereign country. President Biden addressing the nation.
Putin is the aggressor. Putin chose this war, and now he and his country will bear the consequences.
Amid reports of casualties, Ukrainian civilians taking shelter underground or racing to evacuate. So many terrified and tearful.
To see this happening to the country is just devastating. I just can't believe someone could be so evil.
Missile strikes so far largely targeting military installations and airfields, as U.S. defense officials say Russia is trying to decapitate and replace Ukraine's pro-Western government. President Biden meeting with his national security advisors and top allies in the G7, coordinating harsh new sanctions aimed at crushing the Russian economy.
We will limit Russia's ability to do business in dollars, euros, pounds, and yen to be part of the global economy.
With sanctions and uncertainty rocking world markets, President Biden promising to protect American consumers and defending against criticism that he still hasn't unleashed every economic weapon in his arsenal, even as sanctions alone have not prevented Putin's march to war. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Initially, stocks tumbled today and prices surged for oil, wheat, and other commodities on worries the conflict would disrupt global supplies. But those drastic moves moderated after President Biden said he wanted to limit the economic pain for Americans. New at 5, the Springfield Greene County Health Department is moving its COVID-19 vaccination and testing operations. On Monday, the clinic will move from the old Toys R Us building on Battlefield Road to the West Side Public Health Center. Now, that's at 660 South Scenic Avenue. Along with the new clinic location, the health department will also host neighborhood clinics in the upcoming months. We have a list of times and locations in this story at ky3.com. Feels like temps out there are in the teens. Cold, blustery. Ron's back with how much colder it will get overnight when we climb back above freezing, and we'll get a look ahead to your weekend in Harrison and the rest of the area. First, though, your weather school question. When we experience a sunny day with calm air, we are probably experiencing low pressure, high pressure, or little atmospheric pressure.
And now, KY3 First Alert Weather.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. We're checking things out in Harrison. Noah's been telling us that the roads down there are actually in pretty good shape, and you can see they are, although there are some parking lots and a few side streets that are still ice covered, so there's some spots that you're going to have to be mindful of. As far as the advisories go, the winter storm warning has been shifted to the southeast. You can see it down here, south central Missouri, much of north central Arkansas. The rest of southwest Missouri has been dropped to a winter weather advisory. That'll last for another couple of hours, and then after that, I think conditions are going to improve. And as we get a look at radar, you can see we're not looking at any big moisture here in southwest Missouri. You have to go all the way down here to eastern Arkansas and the Boot Hill. That's where we still find a little bit of sleet and freezing rain occurring. If you're driving anywhere, though, there may still be some light areas of freezing drizzle that are falling across the region. So here's the time lapse. You can see everything moving on to the east and eventually coming to an end. Let's check in on Futurecast. Now, we'll have some cloud cover this evening. I can't rule out a couple of snow flurries, maybe a little bit of patchy freezing drizzle, but for the most part, I think the moisture is pulling out of here, and I really don't see many more impacts from the storm system. By morning, we're going to get some clearing.